In this example file scene we have an animated character with the Rigify control rig. The main task is to export that character with the existing animation. In order to achieve that, first we need to create a simple deformed skeleton. That way we could constrain it and create an animation with the existing control rig. Then we could easily export the newly created skeletal mesh. So, let's add a MetaRig armature to the scene. Press Shift+A, and in the armature menu, pick one that called human. Now, I will return the character to the default rest pose to make it clear. It's not a necessary step, just for a visual comparison. Now we could see when the skeleton will match the control rig. Select the new MetaRig armature. Navigate to Armature Templates UI panel, and select these template and bone mapping. Those are predefined and comes with the add-on. How to create a new template from the scratch, you can learn in another part of the course. Next step is to match skeleton with the actual deformed bones, simply using Operation Fit MetaRig. Select the Rigify control rig as a target. We are going to edit the armature. The target control rig has twist bones, so we need to create one for each limb. Then remove the bones that have no use, and lastly, rename to the root. The root name makes the armature object as a root bone when we import it in Unreal Engine. I will show the names of bones, just for the preview, so we could see what happened next. Run the rename bones, use left list of the template to rename it to the def bones naming convention. Now as a result, we have almost an exact copy of the deformed skeleton. The only difference is the way was created the twist bones. I prefer this method, but you could manually subdivide each limb in the edit mode. Let's bind the skin object to the new armature. Simply, switch to the root object in the armature modifier of the skin. Checking the weight map. Working as expected. Do not forget to parent the mesh object to the armature, otherwise it would be missed while exporting. I could keep bone names as they are now, but I would like to show you the advantage of the different naming conventions in the bonus section. Therefore, the next step in order to rename the skeleton, we need to select Humanoid Template, and Rigify Deform Mapping. Use the Rename Bones operator and select Right List. While Humanoid Template is selected, let's launch Edit Template operator. We are not going too deep into an explanation of this particular operator. There is a separate part of the course where we examine how does it work. For now, we just need to create two categories for bone list on the left side of the pop-up window. But first let's get rid of the IK category that have no use. Basically, the goal is to add two pelvic bones to the miscellaneous category and the rest to the face category. Once it is done, give a name for the new template file that the current armature will use. Select that template. It requires to have the mapping with the Rigify deform bones, so we could constrain armature to the animated control rig. I could map each bone manually, but this time I don't have to. Here is why. I'm going to use guess mapping operator instead. Since our armature and control rig have the same face bone names, consider face category is done. Same with pelvis bones, but the rest we will remap with the help of the existing mapping file. Now, I'm going to load Rigify deform mapping from humanoid folder in the native path. The mapping is complete, let's save it with the given name. Every time, when the mapping is selected, it would fill the fields if the file contains those links. The trick was in the difference of the mapping file, that has the rest of the links, except face and pelvis. While new template and rigify deform mapping are selected, use the constrain armature operation. We need the control rig as a target. Select left list, that represent the bones which we want to constrain. Now our character will follow the animation and transformation that would be done by control rig. So, if you want to edit the animation, it could be done same as before. Simply treat it as a regular rigify rig. At this point, I recommend you to save the progress to a separate file. When you are happy with the animation, select the root armature. Navigate to Armature Templates panel and use the Bake Animation operator. While our template are for this armature, make sure that left list, that we want to bake, are selected. Use the Overwrite Current action and change the scale of the armature. It is a proper scale for the export to the Unreal Engine. I want to draw your attention to the fact that now constraints has been cleared. And if there is a need at work with another animation, then you should constrain it again. Or you can reopen the saved file in the state in which skeleton has been constrained. This animated character is ready for export. Select the root armature and child object. Then from the File menu, go to Export, FBX. Mark the Selected Objects checkbox. I'm gonna use the edge information in smoothing. Uncheck the Add Leaf Bones. In the Bake animation, uncheck the NLA strips and the All Actions. These Bake animation settings will export only the current action in the timeline. That's it. In this bonus section I will not explain every step, hope that you already know the basics of the editor. The purpose of this section is to demonstrate that the exported file is properly made, and fully functional in the character blueprint. Also previously, was mentioned, that I will show you the advantage of the current naming convention of the skeleton. Therefore, let's retarget existing animations in this project for that character. As you may notice, in the Retarget Manager we have the identical name list as the selected profile, so we don't have to paste them manually. We need to match the pose of the mannequin, in order properly transfer the animations. Now I will approximately rotate the required bones. Modify pose, choose to use the current pose, and save the skeleton asset. Same for the mannequin, except that we keep this pose as is. If I haven't retarget both skeletons, then there would be no options in the list. Use some prefix and change the folder, where new animation assets would be placed. Switch to our skeletal mesh and the retargeted animation blueprint. That is all. Hopefully, the most of the basics have been covered, and see you in the next chapter.